Hi everyone, it's Hatsy and I'm back with a speed build in the Sims 4 for Gingerbread Week, and this time we're going to be building a Christmas candy workshop. So the idea was that I wouldn't do like a gingerbread house necessarily. I wouldn't do a candy house because I've already done a candy house. Like the whole point was I did like one of those a year ago and I used like so many ideas for it. I used all the BB show hidden objects. So yeah, I've seen a lot of like gingerbread houses and gingerbread creations for Christmas that people have done, which look really cool, but I just did one like a really long time ago and I used like very similar ideas for it. So that's why I kind of wanted to make something a little bit different, do something that hasn't been done, I guess. And I haven't seen a candy workshop. And I think a lot of people stay away from shops and like houses with shops because they don't do so well on YouTube. I don't know why. I think it's because a lot of people don't have the dine out pack. No, whoa, that has nothing to do with anything. It's get to work because it's retail. Maybe that's the reason, I don't know. But they don't for some reason, but I don't really care because I don't do it for that. I do it for the fact that I love it and I really wanted to do a workshop because it's fun. And I personally love shops. Like I'd actually much rather see a shop speed build or something retail than I would with a house, but that's just because it's like quirky. And I think like creating something for Christmas as well, like a Christmas themed shop, would just be a really interesting idea. So I'm in love with this. It actually started to look like a house at first, and that was because I was half considering doing a house and then like half considering doing a shop. And then I was thinking, well, okay, if I don't like that idea, I can just like change it midway. But it looked alright. I mean, I spent ages decorating this. This is probably like one of the longest builds I've ever done, along with the gingerbread castle that's coming up at the end of the week. And if you want to see pictures of that, it's on Twitter. And in my opinion, it is the best creation I've ever made. I love it. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's exciting. I mean, I like this one, but it's just not my favourite. Yeah, I'm not really selling it, but there we go. But if you're new, then this is Gingerbread Week, and what that means is for the whole week, this week, I'm going to be doing creations that are gingerbread themed. So that's going to be like a create a sim, create a pet, mansion, or like castle, and workshop, and then some other stuff as well. So there's like a lot planned for this week, but I've pre-recorded loads of stuff because my friend's coming over from the US, so that'll be fun. And then we're going out and we're doing loads of fun stuff. But yeah, in the last build, the last proper build I did was the suburban mansion. That one was really long. That was like a half an hour speed build from memory. Oh yeah, that's something as well. This has to be in 2 parts because otherwise we're looking at a 50-minute video. Yeah, no one's got time for that. No, I haven't. I'll be tired by the end, but I'm actually doing all my voiceovers in one day, and that is because like I need to, because I need to pre-record before Kayla gets here, because yeah, like it's gonna be good. But I think I said in the apartment speed build that yeah, the issue is like I want to make sure I've got enough pre-recording done like before she gets here, because I want to make sure that like we're going out and we're doing fun stuff rather than like, oh, I've got to pre-record a video, I've got to do this, got to do that. I know like I have to, but that's like the best thing about YouTube, because you can just like record it all in advance. You can like stress yourself out beforehand like loads, and that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. But it's worth it though, because then I'll get a whole week with my friend and we can film loads of videos together, and we can do like, we may even do a podcast, I don't know. We'll plan loads of stuff. I think Steph wants to do baking. Yeah, I'm not great at baking, so we'll see how that goes, but it's gonna be exciting. So yeah, going back to that suburban build, I said I'd finish off the story if it was like highly requested for me to. So I'm gonna like recap you on what I was talking about in the suburban if you are not up to date. So I was originally talking about when I used to be a nanny, and yeah, I used to look after these kids, but it was the family that put me off being a nanny. But I was actually a nanny after I worked for them. So they didn't put me off like that much, but it was one of those things that if I'd have stayed with that family, I would have been put off nannying for a career like altogether, and I would never want to do it again. See, I told some stories about like what happened, and to be honest, it was like mainly the way that the parents discipline the kids. It was really hard for me not to step in, because it would have been very easy for me to just like stand there and just like accept the money, you know, like go there, like turn up, work 3-4 hours and then just go home. But it got to the point where my morality, is that what you call it? Like, it was being tested because all the things that I've known, that I've learned, that I've grown up with, like, the parents didn't do that. So just for an example, like, the kids would hit, like, spit, kick, not say please and thank you, like, they'd snatch, you know, all those bad habits, but there'd be no consequences. And, like, I wasn't allowed to step in and say, like, hey, that's wrong, don't do that, because the parents didn't do that. And there was a situation where the little boy was climbing out the window and stuff, but if you want to hear that, you've got to go to the Suburban. I'm sorry, but, like, I'm not going to tell it again because it's going to get boring for everybody. So I'm going to carry it on because I said I would talk about the last day that I ever spent with the family. So, you know, obviously not giving any personal details because I'm not, but the kids were 6 and 4, so girl and a boy. I won't even, like, give them names or anything like that. But the last day that I spent with them, this was like the time when I realised, okay, I never want to go back there, you know, because that was like, it was a final straw. So what happened was I was living in Basel and I was like fairly settled there, and I decided to get a puppy because I was finding it really hard because I left a nanny job before this job and I got really attached to the family and to the child, and it was so hard to leave. I felt like I had no responsibility. So getting a dog would have just been the best thing for me because I needed something to look after, like something to just nurture. Like, that was it. I just needed it. So yeah, anyway, it was a lengthy process. This wasn't a, like spur of the moment decision. You can't do that in Switzerland. You genuinely can't. Because they make you take a course to look after a dog. Like, you have to go on a proper course for it. I think it's the only country that does it. Because the UK doesn't do this. But yeah, I had to go on a course called the SKN course, and it's basically like a theory exam. It's as hard, like, in my opinion, as taking a theory exam for your driving test or something like that. Like, you have to sit there, you have to put in hours and hours of work and research, and you have to answer all these questions about, like, how to own a dog, and you have to know everything. And they keep an eye on you. You need to be, like, insured and this and that. Like, you need so much stuff to own a dog. And it's good and bad. It's really good because the only people that will be owning pets in Switzerland are the people that are, like, very dedicated to owning them. Like, they really are set on their decision. They've already invested, like, a lot of money into taking the exam in the first place. Stuff like that. So that's great. The only negative thing about it was that I did feel like elements of the test weren't very educational. Like, I don't really see why I had to know, let's say, the whole bone structure in a wolf's anatomy, like, when I'm not even buying a wolf. Like, when is it ever going to come of time when I need to know how many teeth a wolf has in its mouth, and, you know, stuff like that, like all the different bone names and stuff. Like, some of it was really useless, but I think if they changed some things and had it, like, quite helpful, like how often I should be taking my pet to the groomers, how often I should be doing this and that, like, it would have been a lot more helpful. So yeah, I hope they do that in the future, but I don't think they will. So anyway, like, going off that, I got a puppy, and the mum of the family was, like, begging me to take it round to see the kids. And she was like, oh, please, please, like, they're gonna love it, like, they're gonna be really excited, like, oh my goodness, you've got a puppy, like, this is amazing, they've always wanted a dog, but they can't have a dog. And I was like, yeah, well, he's really young, that's the thing. So I was just kind of, like, putting it off and just, like, trying not to give in, because I really didn't want to, but she kept bringing it up, like, week after week after week. She was like, please bring it around. And obviously the girl and the boy were like, really want to see him, etc. Like, oh, I can't wait, and all this. So I decided that I'd bring Teddy round to the house when he was 16 weeks old, because I originally got him when he was, I think he was either like 9 or 10 weeks old from memory. He was 10 weeks old, yeah. And then I wanted to wait 6 weeks because I didn't want to just, like, expose him to the outdoors, other people, like, straight away. I wanted to just, like, gradually introduce him to the world because he's very fragile, like, you know, young animals are. So I was very wary. So yeah, I took him there, and this was, like, when he was 16 weeks old, and I picked the kids up from nursery / like, what do you call it, like, reception, or, like, whatever kind of thing that would be. And then we were going home because it was, like, a 20-minute walk back to the house. So the whole way, like, the girl was like, oh, please, 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 can I hold the lead? Please, can I hold the lead? And I was like, no, there's no way you're holding this lead because we are right next to the road because it's busy. This was, like, middle of Basel. I was like, no way. And she just kept, like, going on and on and on at me, like, please, please, I really want to hold it. Please, 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 please. So it got to the point where I was just like, okay, when we get to the quiet road, I'm going to have my hand on the lead, but you can also have your hand on the lead, but that's the closest you're going to get. And she just kept like pushing and pushing and pushing. Yeah, we get to this like quiet bit of road because I think I mentioned last time they lived on this like really quiet place, and it was just off the main road, so it wasn't like that much of a big deal. You know, he was in safe territory when we were there. And anyway, she was holding the lead with me, and she was being very careful. She was being great with the lead, etc. And we were walking together for about 5, maybe even 10 minutes. And she was like, oh, please, could I just have like 10 seconds on my own? Like, I really want to hold the lead. And she kept going on, and she was really frustrating me. But in the end, because we were right next to the house anyway, I just said, okay, fine, 10 seconds. In that 10 seconds, she purposefully let the lead go. I couldn't believe it. So Teddy runs off. I mean, obviously, there's nowhere for him to run because this is like a place where it's safe because it's just after the main road, as I said. But even so, like, he runs into this parked car, and that's when the little boy, is like stamping his feet, like trying to distress him. So I ended up like, you know, getting Ted. It wasn't like long until I caught him. It was like 5 seconds, but it was horrid, you know, because I know it was really stupid of me to like trust a 6-year-old, but I mean, come on. It was so bad. They were just like standing there hysterically laughing at the fact that he got loose, and they did that. Like, they let the lead go. I don't know. I couldn't get around it because like, I'd have never dreamed of doing that when I was younger. And you know, I've looked after so many kids that just wouldn't do that. So then we get back to the house, and they get bored of him after about like a minute of, you know, him like running around and playing and being happy because he's a little puppy. And she turns to me and she says in like, I guess the most unemotional voice ever, okay, can you go and put him in the car now, please? Because I'm tired of him. Like that. Honestly, like, I could have walked out. Like, I genuinely was ready to just, like, go home. Call it, like, a personality difference. Like, whatever. Maybe I was in the wrong. I don't know. But I was in a situation where, you know, the mum begged me. And the kids begged me. And then as soon as I bring him round, they're just like, okay, can you take him home now? Thanks, bye. And I said, no, I'm not putting him in the car. Absolutely not. He's staying here. So he was just like settled in the corner, just like sleeping, and I was like helping the little girl with like her homework and stuff. And she wasn't like so much of an issue most of the time. It was usually her brother who would like be biting and kicking and punching and spitting. But it was just like some of the stuff that she said was just, it was very questionable, you know? And I found it really hard, like, if I'm honest, and maybe this is like a character flaw on my side, it probably is, but I found it really hard to just move past the just like an emotionalness towards a dog. So then what happens is he's all settled, and then like it's as if the kids get a thrill out of like seeing him distressed. So they keep trying to wake him up. The boy's like trying to stamp his feet and clap, and they're not being friendly, you know, like, oh, look at the cute little puppy. It's more like a, let's disturb the puppy, like, let's see him distressed. And I hate that so much. Like, I would have never dreamed of doing that when I was a kid. And I know they're young, and I know that young kids do like weird things, but I found it so difficult to deal with, honestly. It's just hard because I've grown up with this, you know, mentality of, oh my goodness, there's a cute little animal, like, let's look after it, let's cuddle it, let's play with it, and stuff like that. And their mentality was almost, here's a cute animal, let's distress it, let's see it panicking and worried, because that's funny. I couldn't cope, honestly. So the mum got back, and like, I was so aware at that point that I'm never going to see these kids again. Like, I do not want to see them again. And anyway, there's something as well that the mum used to do, and used to really stress me out. She always used to forget to pay me, and this used to wind me up so much. I swear, this is like some of the most tea I've ever spilt on this channel. But yeah, I know it's petty. It's not even petty though, is it? Like, I'd be there for 3 to 4 hours, and I'd stand by the door at the end, and I probably went like 10 weeks on the run to this family. And she'd just like stand there with a smile on her face, like, all right then, thanks, bye, see you next week. And like, how would you forget to pay somebody 10 weeks in a row? And it was so awkward because like, I'd have to stand by the door and wait and like smile, and there'd be a pause, and that's when I'd like reach for my bag, and I'd be like, oh, I've just got to get my phone and get my wallet and things. Yeah, my wallet, like nudge, nudge, like time to pay. And it was just really awkward. Like, why, you know? So yeah, that happens. To be fair, there's more to this story, genuinely. Like, part 2 is gonna have to be on the interior of this build. I'm sorry. But yeah, the interior will be out in like a couple of days. I'm sorry if you didn't want to hear the story as well. It's actually really nice to get off my chest though, because I've been wanting to talk about this for ages and I've just like never known like how to. It's not like a big story, it's just drama. Like, again, sharing no personal details, but that's it. Like, that is the story, or the other part of it, and then I've got another part after, so we'll catch up on that next time. Anyway, that is the end of the build. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you for the interior.